We can't win unless it turns out that this town isn't the Mayberry everybody thinks it is.
We're the good guys, right?
Yeah, we're the good guys.
The movie makes it fairly clear that the media is in part to blame for where we are now politically. Do you feel it's gotten worse since you've left The Daily Show? Media coverage of politics?
Sure. Yeah, it's gotten more intense. The money is larger. The whirlpool. You know, there's a connection to the media and the political operatives and the fact that campaigns never end, and it's become its own industrial complex and just generates, it's self-propagating to a certain extent and sort of serves its own purposes as opposed to what maybe we could use it for. I certainly don't blame the media for the moment, but boy, would that be a good tool to help get us out of it. And I'd love to see it function in a manner that is maybe more productive.
I remember on the last episode of The Daily Show, you warned your viewers, your fans, to always be vigilant of bullshit. I think if you smell it, say something.
The good news is this. Bull gotten pretty lazy, and their work is easily detected. And looking for it is kind of a pleasant way to pass the time. Like an I Spy of bullshit. So I say to you tonight, friends, the best defense against bullshit is vigilance. So if you smell something, say something.
Do you think we've done that, or have we gotten lazy since then?
No. I think there are wonderful voices out there who call things out. Sometimes when you critique a system, it makes you think that you don't think there's anything of value within that system, but I don't feel that way at all. I feel that the gravitational force of the system tends to blunt the better people and the good storytelling, things like that. It tends to, it's a spectrum of clarity to noise, and the louder the noise gets, the harder it is for clarity to break through. I think there's a lot of people working as hard as they can to break that through. It's not an easy road to hoe.
One could say that we've gotten a little intellectually lazy about questioning things like the coronavirus or police. That maybe that's a little bit on us, not asking harder questions.
I think that sometimes it's not enough to just be inactive, to recognize something inactively. You have to actively, it's not enough to know that it's wrong. You have to actively tear it down. And sometimes we're not able to do that, but that's also human nature. People they're in their own lives, and life is not easy for a lot of people. So that's why these institutions exist, to sort of allow people to have a hand in creating something better.
To that point, we're seeing a lot of media gatekeepers getting torn down, right, or taken down right now. The staff of the New York Times is changing. Other institutions are changing. Is that an encouraging thing for you, this idea that we might finally see because of these protests?
I think churn is an important thing. But again, sometimes we overemphasize the importance of the media, and that nobody likes a good media story as much as the media. And while that's important, I think we saw that editorial authority is earned. It's not just given. But in the same way, American exceptionalism is earned. It's not just given. It's not a title like Miss America. You're like, we're exceptional, and we wear that sash forever. Like, everything needs work and pruning and rethinking and active management, no matter what it is, from the media to political campaigns and operatives, to the politicians themselves, to the way that Congress operates, to the way that we appropriate money, to the way that we spend our money with value and common sense. And, I just think a stepping back and reassessing of where we are is an important process.
And certainly political institutions are changing, and the Democratic Party is facing a different future now. Gatekeepers are being torn down there. And you take aim at them in your film, for sure. Are you excited by the change that you see happening in the party, in the Democratic Party?
Sure. Anytime people bring an idealistic energy to it, it's exciting to see. there's a spectrum on this that is, all the way from, superficial reform to Arab Spring. And you kind of want to land somewhere where the change is sustainable but isn't nihilistic. You kind of want to make sure, because people won't stand for chaos. It's not, it won't make the type of change you want sustainable. So I love seeing people expressing their ideas and getting a process that's more closely tied to what people actually need than the narratives.
Do you have hope that Joe Biden will be the transitional candidate he's promised?
I never speculate on, my greatest hope is that I'm seeing people, grassroots, standing up and getting involved and saying, what I am seeing has so distressed me that I will no longer sit on the sidelines. And I very much admire that. And I think that's, if we're going to make America great again, to me, that will be the key to it.
We need some way to road test a more rural-friendly message.
If you can't live your principles in the bad times, I guess they aren't principles, they're just hobbies.
Nice.
John Wayne and a tractor have a baby, and all you can say is nice.
Chris, to start with you, I was thinking after watching Irresistible, I remember your 2004 film, Silver City, with John Sayles, which is a political satire of the Bush era. What's it like making a political satire in the Trump era? What are some of the big differences?
Oh man, I gotta say that 2004 film that was sideways commentary on the Bush administration. The timing couldn't have been worse. This, however, I think, fortunately or unfortunately, in the situation we're finding ourselves in right now, I think it's come at a good time. I think it's come at a really good time.
Is there a reason why you think the timing was worse in 2004? What was the specific reason?
Oh man, it was like if you weren't a Bush supporter, you were a terrorist. I don't know. It was brutal then, and kind of brutal now.
Mackenzie, I was thinking your character in the movie sort of represents the hope of a post-tribal political future. You seem to be able to bring the sides together. I mean, is that something you hope to see happen, that we can move beyond the sort of red state, blue state argument we seem to be stuck in?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, of course. It feels pretty entrenched in historical American politics. I don't often feel super optimistic about that, but my God, I just wish we could move beyond the tribalism. But I think that's what's so great about John and this movie, and the way that he approaches politics. He really indicts the system and the structure, and it's not a Democratic issue, and it's not a Republican problem. It's like, we're all doing this bad, and we need to do it better. And it would be good for all of us, no matter what your interest is, if we just did this better. And I think he's really good at making that clear.
Are there any progressive candidates you follow now, or that you're looking forward to voting for in the election this year?
Well, Nithya Raman, I'm looking forward to voting for. Well, I can't vote, which is just devastating. I have a green card and not citizenship, but I want to canvass for her. And yeah, George Gascon is going to be going against Jackie Lacey as our DA in Los Angeles. Anyways, I have Los Angeles things that I'm really interested in, and then
a lot of local politics is local, as they say. So, Chris, not to okay boomer you, but do you at all do you ever look back at the boomer generation and sort of blame yourselves for the state we're in? Is it something indicative to that generation in particular?
Well, I mean, at the time of my youth, I thought we were going successfully in a completely different direction, and I mean, I'm stunned how we've wound up. and my generation, a little embarrassed. I know progressives, many, 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 but the way the world has gone, didn't expect that. Didn't expect it to go this way.
Is there anyone in this upcoming election you're looking forward to voting for or supporting?
Without question, sure, absolutely, yeah. And we have local elections coming up that this our town is pretty divided. So yeah, I put a good time in.
Mackenzie, just speaking briefly about Terminator Dark Fate, were you frustrated by the way that movie got caught up in, I guess for lack of a better word, the woke wars, people accusing it of being too feminist or too woke in that way?
I don't know if that's what its downfall was. I didn't pay a lot of attention to that part of it, mostly because I find that stuff so toxic and just not a fruitful place for me to focus my energy seeing what monsters on Twitter are saying about me and my body. But I think there's been enough Terminators, and I think our movie proved it. I'm proud of the movie that we made. I think the interest has expired. I totally get it and respect it. I still love the thing that we made, and I'm happy to be the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, it was great to see all of you and Linda Hamilton together in a very female-fronted action franchise. That was
so fun. I love making it. I love the people I made it with. That 6 is too many is no surprise to me, and I'm happy to move on. But I loved my experience with it.
Chris, working with Jon Stewart on this, what can you say about him as a director? What was one of your? How did he direct you in the film?
Well, coming from with his background in mind, satire and comedy and improvisation, he's the man, and he knows how to cast, and he knows how to. I mean, if you remember his talk shows, he pretty much developed, I think, the careers of people like Steve Carell and Stephen Colbert. And to watch these talents and to work with Stephen, and for me to be involved in a light comedy, I really get the opportunity, and I'm looking for trying to find those projects more and more. So I quite enjoy them.
The Democrat Party can't win. They're getting desperate. This is really just another perfect example of the DC elite trying to dictate how we should live.
That's we, you're DC elite.
Oh, no, actually, I'm from here. I'm from Deer Lacket.
How closely did you study Republican political operatives to get your character just right? And who did you study specifically? Is there some Kellyanne Conway in there?
The hardest part about one of these sorts of political animals, like a Faith Brewster or a Kellyanne Conway or whomever, or a Jim Acosta, whoever you're going to be talking about, that they speak so fast, and it's another language when they are talking, and it's literally that alone was so intimidating to me to try to capture that. And there's almost a drollness and a steady tone they have that is very specific, and trying to do that, trying to capture that was very challenging. It's another language, and I never felt that I got it right, ever. I was always ashamed of my performance. I was like, that didn't sound like I knew what I was saying, because I don't.
When you watch the news now, I mean, do you pick up, do you see behaviors that you recognize having done them yourself? Do you sort of
Politico speak and slang that I do, that I can, little tricks of the trade that Jon sort of pointed out to me or taught me. I've loved this. I love the genre of the political drama, whether it is broadcast news or the newsroom. I thought was a fantastic show on Apple. I thought Jen Anderson was just fantastic on that. It's such a great backdrop for theatrics and great characters. So I've always wanted to do a genre of this genre. So I was really excited to be a part of it.
Talk a little bit about just working with Jon as a director. What was he like behind the camera?
I'm just gushing, but he's so sweet, very collaborative, endlessly enthusiastic, and it really can relate to everybody and anybody, and very disarmingly down to earth. Yeah, for someone who's as well known as he is, for such a specific kind of corner of our entertainment business or whatever. He's really quite unassuming and shy in a way.
I wanted to ask, you're a big staple on the Broadway scene, the New York theater scene here. They've recently canceled the Tony Awards this year. You were in a production of Medea earlier. Or do you think they made the right decision to cancel the Tonys this particular year?
I do. I mean, this thing is just evolving day by day, and we have to try to mitigate the risk so then we can get more reward at the end. And it's a long game, But look, my heart breaks for the theatre, like all New Yorkers. We go I see more theatre than I do films or shows, TV shows. We were one of the few shows that actually got to finish their run, and we had so many friends who were about to open on Broadway, and it's just heartbreaking. It's but the theatre will survive. It's been around for thousands of years, and it will continue for thousands more years. It's just right now we have to just band together to try to mitigate things.
Have you, I mean, there are obviously more important things right now than award shows, but have you thought about when you're comfortable?
Never anything more important than an awards show. I'll have you know. God.
I'm sorry for even
sacrilege.
Have you thought about when you'd feel comfortable going back to the Emmys or the Tonys?
I think about it all the time. I'm planning on going, I think it'll be a huge Zoom, won't it? We'll all 6,000 people on Zoom. Can you imagine anything worse? Yeah, it's a whole new world. I mean, I never thought I'd be here trying to get my 2-year-old to wear a mask so we could go to the shops. I mean, talk about a reality check.
And in terms of just going back on sets, I mean, have you thought about some sort of things that would make you feel comfortable about going back to work? Are there precautions or things that you?
I mean, I'm just in awe of the people who have to go to work, the essential workers, people who are obviously the healthcare workers, people at UPS, people at the pharmacies, at the supermarket. I feel like my concerns are really such a minor problem compared to the people who actually are still at work as we speak while the pandemic is not slowing down whatsoever.
Sort of looking back on making a movie like Irresistible now, I mean, does it almost feel like another world? So knowing that you were all on set together making this movie, is it weird to think about?
Reflecting on it today, it was a year ago thereabouts we shot this, and it's literally a different planet. And if we'd had a crystal ball to see that now and promoting this, that it would be where we are today is really impossible.
What is a memory from your shoot that you sort of treasure, like one particular scene or a moment that you sort of carry with you from the shoot?
I mean, I love the scene in bed where she's antagonizing him and smoking and telling him she's gonna, she's desperately trying to get him to engage and like having some fun with her, and he's being very serious. And that was a really fun scene and a hard scene to figure out tonally. And I like the scene, no one is spared. It's very funny, the scene with Mackenzie Davis when she's like, when we go low, so then we go lower. To go incrementally low to then go back up. Stuff like that only Jon Stewart can kind of perfectly encapsulate.
To that point, I mean, we're obviously approaching an election year later this year. Are there any specific candidates or causes you're looking forward to supporting, either at the ballot box or just through canvassing?
Firstly, I think people just vote for a start. I'm so inspired by the huge, protests that have taken place for, these incredibly systemic problems that have been obviously in the news and historically for so long in this country. And that I really hope it's a tipping point.